Good morning and welcome to the Talk of the Town. My guest this morning is Attorney at Law N.K. Ashokbaran. Good morning, Ashokbaran.
Good morning, Sonali.
Ashokbaran, Peter Parker from Spider Man was bitten by a radioactive spider and he had a choice to make. Will I use my power for good or will I use my power for evil? Let's discuss this in the context of the executive presidential system in Sri Lanka and its evolution through the decades. Is it actually a toxic system for Sri Lanka?
Absolutely, Sonali. Absolutely. Like Lord Acton said, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think the present evil political culture in this country is a manifestation of the uh, power greed system that was introduced to this country after the executive presidency. We see that executive through this executive presidency system that immense amount of power, unchecked power, is vested with one person. Now, not one office, I would say one person. And there had been efforts to check or limit that power through various amendments starting from the 17th. But said that, or I would say, despite those efforts, even today, the president of Sri Lanka is one of the most powerful officers in the world. And this led this country to a political culture where despite the need for accountability, uh, every politician starts to surround the president and whoever is the president and try to receive support and backing from that president. And it also gives so much control to that office over the administration of this country and especially over other organs of the government. We saw in the history where executive presidents have used their executive office to manipulate the composition of the legislature. That is what we in simple parlance call crossovers, and we saw several presidents do that. And we have also seen the presidents try to directly or indirectly use their executive power to meddle with the judiciary. So all these issues arise from the fact that in this country we have given so much of power to one office, one person who's sitting in the office, and that has to change.
Let's talk about the flip side of the argument, that of political expediency. At times, swift decision making is of the essence, time is of the essence, and democracy and democratic norms are thought of as overrated. What have you got to say about that?
Now, Sonali, there are very limited situations which will require such expediency. Say there is an immediate war, there is a neighbor trying to attack us, so you have to decide whether we go to war or not. Say there is a riot happening where you have to declare curfew or not. Those are very isolated and limited circumstances, and in every other country which does not have such a powerful executive presidency, also certain officers like a figurehead president will have such powers, will such have powers. So those very rare isolated situations don't demand one person have so much power concentrated in him and run a country. In fact, in this country, executive presidents have manifested themselves like monarchs. I mean, except for the incumbent president, every other president have their own flag. I mean, own standard, and this is an absolute monarchy kind of manifestation. So that is the problem. That is the problem with executive presidency. You give so much power unchecked to one person, and that is not an issue about using that power, but that also leads to a corrupted politicization of the whole system, political system and administrative system.
You're advocating for the abolition of the executive presidency, but reform of this system won't guarantee an overnight transformation of the governance landscape.
So, Nali, my opinion is nothing will guarantee overnight transformation. Transformation takes time. In fact, the politicization and the present political impunity culture, it took time. It happened for over 3 4 decades since the introduction of the executive presidency. So if we are to reverse that, it is going to take time, but we have to start at some point.
What do we replace this with?
We replace this with the parliamentary system, a parliamentary democratic system, which is being practiced by several successful countries, including India, Singapore. So you do not actually need power vested, almighty power vested in one person to build a successful state.
All right. Thank you very much, N.K. Ashokbaran, attorney at law. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Talk of the Town. Thank you, and it's back to the studio.